Alright guys, so I've just about lost the feeling in my hands and fingers trying to type everything we have learned about Warlords of New York, the new expansion coming on March 3rd. Now instead, I've uploaded all of the Ubisoft World Premiere footage in one long video on my channel, so you can go check that out. But in this one, I've done a recap of all the post-show information because there's a lot here not talked about in the World Premiere. This is stuff that you guys probably have no idea about. So sit back, relax, maybe grab something to eat, a drink, whatever, because this may be long and I'm going to try and do this in one take. So let's go. Alright, so first and foremost, episode 3 is going to be released tomorrow, or the 12th of February, depending on when this video goes out. It's either tomorrow or today, but it's the 12th of February 2020, and episode 3 is a prologue for the first ever Division expansion. So let's go over the expansion overview. Now, Warlords of New York tells the story of the hunt for Aaron Keener. It's a brand new campaign in a brand new map, which is Lower Manhattan. Division 1, we were in Midtown Manhattan actually, and there's going to be 4 new named zones. Manhattan has been created on a 1-to-1 scale, just like Washington D.C, and it was a former dark zone that was hit by the hurricane. And there's going to be a huge overhaul to the core systems, Gear 2.0, which we've had a number of streams about and I've covered here on the channel. There's going to be a brand new endgame, brand new calendar of activities, which is seasons, plus other stuff. Now, currently the paid expansion is at €30 for existing Division 2 players. I've actually tried to see online if I can find it in dollars or in pounds. I've not been able to, so I don't know what it is in that currency. Now, if you're new, you can actually purchase a standard edition with both the base game and this expansion for €40, and an ultimate edition which includes the base game, the expansion, plus all year 1 pass content as well. The Haven is going to be the new base of operations, and I'll actually include some footage here which shows the Haven. I think it looks unbelievably cool, guys. It's got really unique lighting. It actually reminds me of the base of operations from the Division 1. It just looks really, really cool, and I can't wait to actually get in there. At its core, Warlords of New York is a narrative-driven campaign. It will come with Title Update 8, which will include all of the Gear 2.0 improvements, which will be for everyone. Title Update 8 is for everyone. New gear score of 515, and anyone in World Tier 5, the new cap is going to be 515. Now, when you go to New York, and the way you do that is once you go load into the game in Manhattan, then you can go and see the pilot who will take you to your first mission in New York. You're going to be level 30, and your first test is to level up to level 31, and it goes all the way up to level 40. Now, they went on to talk about the LMB, and the reason they said that is because they previously talked about this before, about the possibility of the LMB coming back. Well, what they said was that the leader was taken out in the division, and like any private militia, they would go to whoever pays them the most, which in this case is the Black Tusk. Now, what they've done is they've refreshed the Black Tusk with a new Russia, which is an LMB Russia, and there's also a new support from LMB with a healing hive, and there's also going to be some big boy variants, 2 new big boy variants, but they didn't say what those were. The expansion will come with 5 new main missions, 8 new side missions. The living world system that we get from Manhattan will obviously apply in New York with new world activities. It isn't this expansion isn't something you do and then go back to Washington D.C. This is a completely new world with new secrets and new stuff. Manhattan won't be abandoned once you get into the seasons, which I'll go over soon. Then there will be unique stuff that you can do in Manhattan as well. Now, moving on to the new endgame, and I will say something about this once we get through it, but what they said was that once you reach level 40, which will be the cap, they're basically getting rid of the gear score and they're going to have shade levels. Now, I'm going to talk more about shade levels in a bit, so we're going to skip over that for now. They are including global difficulty. Now, with global difficulty, you can basically change the whole map to whatever difficulty you want. Every single mission and faction will support heroic now, and with that in mind, there is a legendary difficulty added. 3 main strongholds from Washington D.C. are going to be legendary as well. And the good thing about that is basically the higher the level of activity you're playing, the better the rewards you're going to get. So if you set your whole world to, say, heroic because you're mental, or legendary because you really need to go and see someone, then you're going to get the best loot from doing that. Now, the global difficulty, it won't apply to the raid. The Dark Hours raid, by the way, is going to be at level 30 and level 40 of Warlords. So if you don't buy the expansion pass, you're going to still be able to play Dark Hours at level 30, but you can also play at level 40 if you do have the pass as well. But there will be additional, I believe, rewards for level 40 completions. And what they wanted to do with this stuff really here, with these global difficulties and legendaries, they really want to focus on rewarding players with better gear for doing harder difficulty. And I know a lot of people who do this stuff, who are just very good at the game, who like heroic and stuff, they're going to be very happy with this. This might actually, I say this every time, but I'm actually really considering trying to get into being one of those people that can do heroics and legendaries, but I'm going to need some help, guys. So if any of you guys can help me out, then just please let me know. What they did say about legendary difficulty is that generally every single enemy, they aim for your head. They aren't fooled as much by skills and all of that sort of stuff, and they acquire targets much quicker. They're just generally more lethal and just much smarter and better. They said that heroic and legendary will scale to the amount of players in a team. Legendary mode has some unique vanity tied to it as well. And what I was saying earlier about seasons is that it starts 7 days after launch, so this is going to be March 10th. The first target of the seasonal manhunt will appear, and after you defeat Keener, you realise there is more. So what they revealed here is that once you do all the main missions, you will actually face Keener and you will defeat Keener, which, I'll be honest, was a bit of a surprise to me. But what they've said is that what you'll soon realise is there is a lot more out there to discover. They're going to be adding new seasonal, new manhunts, I believe every 3 weeks. And whilst pursuing these manhunts, you're going to get season level ups. And on screen, you're going to see a couple of images here and there, just kind of showing you what I'm basically talking about. On here, we've got leagues added where you can compete with players, but also it sets you stuff to do. So it might say, go and do this to get this reward, etc. They give you stages towards rewards like vanity and seasonal loot. And during the second week of the league, a global event will start. We know of one, which is Polarity Switch. They didn't go into too much detail about it, but what they did say is you have to kind of juggle being polar opposites. They stated you can hurt a polar opposite, but you don't really want to, and it's completely optional. So it's kind of like this juggling effect. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Now, when you get to the manhunt target, they have a unique skill. I believe the first one is female, and they have an EMP sticky bomb. And once you defeat them, you will get that skill. Now, what I do believe is that if you don't do it, then you're not going to get access to that skill. Or maybe you will, but through other means somewhere down the road. They didn't really talk about that too much. Apparel events have been redesigned to make it much clearer in the UI. On screen, you're going to see a reward track, which is going to show what they said was that we're going to be getting 4 new brands, 10 new exotics, 2 new weapons, 19 new named items, that's gear and weapons, 2 new gear sets as well. Each season will contain new gear and other stuff as well. All of the new stuff will be in the track, but also be in drops as well. They did hint at the exotic backpack being in the track, so we'll have to see about that. They confirmed that directives are back. Now, if any of you guys played the Division 1, you'll know what directives are because they were in the underground. They talked about 2 of them, Fog of War, which removes the minimap. They had one, they talked about a few of them actually. They said there's one where you have no regen at all. There's one which limits the amount of ammo that you've got. There are 5 of them, but they only confirmed 3 here. You can also set the directive to the whole world if you really want to go crazy, and you are given a bonus XP doing this, and that's important for the shade levels. So what you could do is you could have 5 directives and legendary if you're really that crazy, but you really want to maximize the amount of XP you want to get. But from what they said, that's pretty much no one's going to be doing that one. I know some of you guys will do it because you're just beasts. They wanted to say the new raid is coming spring of 2020, and it will be in level 30 and level 40 variant. It's confirmed to be called the Foundry, which I think we all knew anyway. They went on to talk about a holster, an exotic holster, I believe it is, that sets people on fire that are close. That was as much as they gave us about that. There's a gun, an exotic gun that doesn't run out of bullets. Actually, I think we get to that one. I think that's the new LMG. They talked about new secrets. Now, they said hunters and more, and they specifically said more is going to be really cool. And they didn't actually say what it is. There are surprises like the hunters, but they're not hunters. So do with that as you will. And they said about Shaytek, it will have a new use. There's going to be big yellow crates in the base of operations, which will give you some stuff by using Shaytek. Because you are going to be collecting Shaytek in New York, but if you've already got all the skills, then you need it for something. So that's what it's going to be all about. Now moving on to RPG and Gear 2.0. And a lot of this stuff you've probably heard before, guys, but I'm going to go over it anyway. Gear is going to be much more straightforward. You can make a decision immediately. I'm going to insert a new image here, which you guys can see of some of the changes being made to brand sets. You'll be able to see some significant changes. Actually, Wyvernware is now a skill brand set, as you can see. And Badger Tough is a more up-close set with new talents. You know, you've got shotgun and armor and whatnot. And it looks like all brands will have a damage talent for the first talent. And then the other two talents, they're going to be more like supporting talents like stability and reload speed and all that sort of stuff. They want to talk about recalibration. If you find a good roll once, you can extract it from the gear and use it infinitely from there. You kind of have this goal with this new library system to collect all god rolls in the game. There is going to be a white chevron under dropped gear, which will tell you if the drop is better than what you have in your bench. So a really good quality of life change there. Skill tiers, there's going to be 6 skill tiers, 1 for each slot of gear that you can equip. There's the overcharge feature, which is kind of like skill tier 7, which is a temporary like boost to your skills gained through different ways. There's going to be 2 core stats with weapons. You know, you've got your damage on a weapon, which is now going to have a bar to represent the power of that particular roll. And then the type bonus, so you take an AR which has damage to health. There's going to be a third roll, which can be like extra magazine size, headshot damage, all of that sort of stuff. And then it's going to have its active talent. They then talked about a new exotic, the Lady Death Exotic, a new SMG which has got brass knuckles on the front. It looks unbelievably cool. They said this synergizes with a new gear set. They didn't say what this new gear set was. It fits very well with a run and gun style. And you're going to see why here. You gain more stacks as you run. And as you shoot, you consume stacks, which amplifies your final damage significantly. And it's important that I say final damage here, because what it does is it amplifies your overall damage. Okay, so if you take crit chance, crit damage, everything into one big number, then it amplifies that big number. And once you get a kill, you actually get a movement buff on kill. It's like a speed buff as well. So that's unbelievably scary. They went on to talk about the gold LMG, included it in the premiere as well, called the Bullet King, which I'm sure you guys playing Division 1 will know all about the Bullet King. And it's got a talent called Bullet Hell. This gun does not need to be reloaded, okay? There's also another talent on this weapon whereby every 100 hits replenishes everyone's ammo. And there's one attachment on this as well. It's called the Mag of Holding. And they did say this is probably the best sustained damage weapon in the game. And that makes sense when the weapon never needs to be reloaded. And it's probably the best sustained damage weapon in the game as a support weapon as well, because it reloads everyone's weapons. We've also got more about shade levels. Okay, so earlier I talked about shade levels, but they went into a bit more detail about them. And the question was, how would you explain it? Well, it's a system that allows players to progress their character with incremental increases in their character kind of power after level 40. There's 4 nodes, and each node has sub-nodes. It will replace the field proficiency cache system for all players having reached level 40. The nodes are offense, defense, utility, and miscellaneous. Each of these nodes, as I said, they have sub-nodes. And once you've maxed out all of these 4 nodes, there's going to be a 5th node which opens up, which is called Scavenging. Now with this as well, there are prestige rewards that go with this, and your level is going to be visible to all players. This system is kind of meant to be infinite, but it's kind of not. It is finite, but it's infinite, and it's not. But it's meant to give you those incremental steps above level 40, giving you, basically rewarding you every time you play. And you get this stuff, I believe, through XP. All old exotics which have been revamped will be available at level 40, and Gear 2.0 drops with Warlords on March 3rd. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Dark Zone and PvP. There's no new Dark Zone in the New York map. The old Dark Zone has been revamped. Now what I will say just right off the bat here is we are getting a stream tomorrow, our usual state of the game, which is going to focus more on Endgame and the Dark Zone. So there was limited information here, but it was still nice to hear about. I think we're going to hear more about it tomorrow. What they wanted to do with the Dark Zone is they wanted to try and find a way back to what made the Division Dark Zone so great. And it's going to be a place where you go to throw down, okay? It isn't going to be a place for someone who wants to PvE. If you want to throw down and you want to PvP and you want that really high risk, high reward situation, well, that's what the Dark Zone, that's what they're trying to achieve with the Dark Zone. They even said there is enough PvE in the game, and there will be more to come. So they really wanted to make the Dark Zone more PvP orientated. They want to make sure that the stuff you get from the DZ is good as well. It's going to be one of the best places to get gear, and there's going to be exclusive DZ loot. I actually heard them mention there's going to be an exotic exclusive to the Dark Zone, and everything has to be extracted as well. Everything has to be extracted. You are going to be able to see what the stats of the stuff is when it drops on the floor, but if you want to take it, it has to be extracted. And if you actually find a piece of gear on the floor that you don't want and you dismantle it, you will get a currency for doing so, but that currency also has to be extracted. And the reason they've done this is they want to get everyone extracting stuff, so there's more interactions between players. They want to talk about the occupied versus the non-occupied and that situation. They said they don't want you to feel excluded or that you have to play a certain mode. The rogue system is going to be simpler. The grey rogue is going to be gone across all of it. The push to button will exist across both things here, but it's going to be very, very quick. They actually said it's about 300 milliseconds to go rogue. So as soon as you press it, you're rogue pretty much, but you are going to have to push to go rogue. And also what they confirmed is this mechanic will not abort what you're doing, so you can ADS and go rogue at the same time, which I think is really, really cool. They've confirmed that with the revamp, there's going to be 3 extractions per Dark Zone now. The flare signal is going to be big, I believe bigger, so that everyone sees it. And the revamped Dark Zone level perks as well. They didn't say what those Dark Zone level perks are going to be looking like. I presume they'll talk about that tomorrow, but they've revamped it as well. And they confirm that XP can only be gotten from interacting with other players, whether you're helping them, killing them, whatever it is really. VoIP by default will be on, and you can opt out of this as well, so they've changed that up. Ammo crates have been added to every extraction site, and like I said, they basically want the Dark Zone to go back to the heart of what the Dark Zone once was. They've brought back the Isaac speech that you have lost contact with the Shade Network when you're going into the Dark Zone as well, so it's a little touch there, which is cool. They then want to talk about some other bits and bobs here, which I'm going to go over. So they said they've made a change to the Gunslinger Exotic gear piece, and they said that whilst your pistol is holstered, you are going to be building up stacks. There are 10 stacks, and it amplifies the first bullet from your pistol up to 1000%. So each stack is 100%. If you get 10 stacks, the first bullet out of your pistol will do 1000% more damage. So, I mean, to me that sounds like you can be one-shotting people, possibly. They then want to talk about Peacekeepers. It's brand new friendlies in New York. Apparently they're not the JTF. They're above Stormtroopers. They're actually going to be pretty useful. They then confirmed there's going to be full gear dies. Now they said that they didn't really work properly with the release of the game. They covered like 1/3 of your gear, but now you'll be able to fully dye all of your gear. So if you want to be fully pink, if you want to be fully purple, or if you just want to look like a traffic light, that's up to you, because you can, and it will fully cover your gear, which is cool. They confirmed that new character heads are actually coming with this update, and they're actually going to resemble the ones from the Division, so you can actually recreate your Division 1 character in the Division 2 by what it looks like, essentially. They want to talk about Fog of War again, because what they confirmed is that when you go through New York, you will uncover the map as you go through, as opposed to what you get in Manhattan when you first get in there. It shows the whole map, it shows where stuff is, essentially. You're going to have Fog of War when you go into New York, and you will have to discover everything as you go through the map rather than be told where everything is. And to go into a bit more detail about that, your GPS won't work in the Fog of War. If you need to go to somewhere and you ping it, it won't find it. You will have to go and find that for yourself, essentially. Then they went on to the question section. Okay, so they took questions from the stream. So I'm going to go through these to give you the answers to these questions. Question, any interaction with former Division 1 agents? Direct interaction, there will be none. Warlords will not include any areas of the Division. There won't be a big Dark Zone. Okay, so we're still keeping the free Dark Zone. Question about classified gear. It's not going to be in the current system, but they have considered their implementation in a future update. Year 2 pass, no. Only the expansion and seasons. What I presume is that you're going to end up paying for each season, I imagine. Probably something like €10, something like that. Will the expansion be required for Year 2 raid? No. It will be available for everyone at level 30 and level 40. Is the hardcore mode carrying over to Warlords? Well, it's still in beta, so it will, but they haven't really focused on it too much at the moment. Skills from the Division 1, are they making a return? Well, the sticky bomb is coming back. And there's going to be new twists on it as well. We know of the EMP one, so there's going to be new twists on that, but they didn't confirm any other ones, so I presume no to any others. Although the new shock skill is very much the shock turret from Division 1. I can't believe they're bringing back a skill that allows you to shock stuff. Anyway, any new specializations? Currently no plans at this time. Will exotics be upgradable? No. You will need to find them at level 40. I know a lot of you guys are going to be very disappointed with that one, because I know a lot of you guys, myself included, have taken a lot of time to actually get certain exotics, or you may have only just got it and it's taking you, what, 10 months, nearly 12, 11 months, whatever. Well, unfortunately you can't upgrade them. You're going to have to find them at level 40. And will there be exclusives tied to the expansion? Basically the new brands, the exotics gear sets, can only be found in the expansion. So the new stuff can only be found in the expansions. All the Gear 2.0 rework and all of that stuff, that's Title Update 8, that's for everyone. Will the Dark Zone have checkpoint turrets? For now, they are keeping them on. However, they are still monitoring them because they've heard the feedback about people not being overly happy about them. And that's it. That was really it for the post-show. I mean, the post-show went on for a lot longer. That post-show was 2.5 hours. But I think that's the meat of everything that we got. The only question that I've got, and I've actually sent a DM to Frederick Feilander as I'm making this video, asking him, okay, so all of this stuff's coming, right? And I'm psyched. I'm hyped to play all of this stuff. However, I didn't hear anything about new replayable content like, Resistance, Underground, Survival from the Division 1. This is content you can go into, play a bunch of times, and you can just keep replaying it. I didn't hear anything about that. Seasons, that's not that, I don't believe. And aside from that, everything else is just missions. So, okay, maybe we might learn more about that tomorrow, because I believe they're talking more about the endgame in tomorrow's stream. But it's one of those things that as soon as they were talking, I just thought, wait there, where's the replayable content? I've not even heard the word replayable in any of this stream. I can't believe it. If I hear anything about that, I'll obviously let you guys know. But that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for all your support on this one. I've got so much stuff coming out. It's unbelievable. The amount of notes I've got here, the amount of stuff, ideas of videos and stuff I've got, unbelievable. So please subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. Till the next one. Oh, by the way, guys, in the background is one of the Episode 3's classified assignments. So, there you go. Peace out.